What style is that? It's my own secret technique. Bishop Chronicles. What's it called?
Checkmate, sucker, now the move game's over.
What's it called?
Adisa and Joko from Real. That's right.
What's it called?
Certainly the black ron burgundy.
It's my own secret technique. Bishop Chronicles.
Peace of the planet Earth. You know what time it is. Adisa the Bishop, boy. We back. The Black Ron Burgundy is in the building. And what did I tell you? I told you this year we're going extra hard in the paint, right? So I came in with RZA, bust you straight in the jaw with that. You know what I'm saying? And while you stun, boy, while you holding that jaw, I'm going to bring in Mel Cole. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like, you know what I'm saying? Like iconic photographer. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe you've seen 50 Cent before. Maybe you've seen ASAP. Maybe you've seen Snoop. Maybe you've seen The Roots. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you've seen 21 Savage, Lauryn Hill, Drake. You know what I'm talking about? All levels, generations of hip hop royalty. He is the guy that captures their essence for you to be like, whoa, that's the guy. When you go, whoa, that's the guy who makes you go, whoa. So at Mel D Cole with the E on IG, welcome to Bishop Chronicles.
Thank you, man. That was one of the most incredible introductions that I've ever received before. I really appreciate it. I need to hire you for that. I need that drop, baby.
You know what I'm saying? Yo, let the bishop sprinkle you and your peoples with all of this, man. Thank you for being on Bishop Chronicles. You know,
Sure.
There's a lot about your work that I love. And, you know, I'm a journalist. I come from old school hip hop journalism, right? I've always loved the art of photography, because I always saw it as the visual capturing of what I was trying to do with the written word, right? Now, you know, I know pretty much, I mean, especially since the Capitol Riots, your name has just been, and it was already everywhere. But
Right.
for those that don't know you, right, when you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, right, who are you, where you from, and how did you get here to where you are in your life right now?
All right, cool. So shit. When I wake up and look myself in the mirror, when I'm wiping the coal from my eyes, I
Yes,
literally look at myself and go, shit, man, you are the fucking man. You are who you always thought you wanted to be, and you are who you are at the same time. I'm originally from Syracuse, New York, born and raised, left there at 96, moved to the Bronx for a little bit. My high school dropout.
Me too.
Yeah, word. GED.
Keep rising. Me too.
Man, like, yeah, man. I'm proud as hell of that, because I really wasn't, doing well in high school. I was going to end up, as my pops told me, either dead or in jail. So I got my shit together, got my GED, and went to college. I have 2 college degrees, associates, bachelor's. I have a bachelor's from Stony Brook.
Okay.
I was a teacher, ironically, for a little bit in the New York Teaching Fellowship Program.
Wow.
And now I'm married with a kid, a dog, 2 cats, and currently residing in Jersey City. So,
nice. Now, you've taken a lot of pictures that I love,
Thank you.
Of a lot of different people. The Roots pics are amazing. Erykah Badu pics are amazing. Jill Scott. There's a lot. Okay. Like I'll get lost naming people. But one of the pictures that really struck me was the picture that you had of Nipsey holding the chain.
Yes.
And so I wanted to ask you, because like one of, on Bishop Chronicles, we do really focus heavily on West Coast hip hop history and stuff like that. And so I'm curious, because I never got to meet Nipsey Hussle. Can you tell me about that shoot? And can you tell me about what you remember of him and the best things you took from your engagements with him?
All right, cool. Yeah, that photo was actually at SOB's in New York in 2010 or 11. It was his first show in New York, and I've always heard about Nipsey. Before that, he had a buzz on the West Coast, but back in 2010, believe it or not, the internet really wasn't, there wasn't Instagram and all that stuff. It was baby stuff. It was in the blog era. So if you were popping in your city, that's just where you were. You were popping in your city.
You weren't. Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't as easy to go global. So, you had to come to New York and you had to perform at SOBs. And if you came to New York and you performed at SOBs, I was one of the photographers that was going to be there to document you. And that's where I was. That day we were downstairs in the dressing room. He was really nice. I remember him just being super gracious and thanking me for, being there and taking his photo. And that was, in his private space at the time in the dressing room.
Right.
So, I took a series of photos of him and, holding I believe it's Malcolm X.
I think
pendant.
so. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was, really powerful to me. And I just, snapped it up and basically kept it moving and photographed his full show that day. But so I believe I met him probably maybe about 5 more times after that. And he was just always that same vibe, like super Cali, chill, nice. Like laid back, and he just always reminded me, like, for one, I thought he looked like Snoop,
right?
And he
for
just
sure,
had that, like, he had that typical, like, yeah, I'm gangster, I'm smooth.
Yeah, that West Coast G vibe.
West Coast, yeah, very LA,
right.
very LA dude, yeah.
No, that's great, man. Thank you for sharing that, man. Because I try to get those different gems and nuances about West Coast artists. So I appreciate you. Now, when I've known a lot of photographers over my journey as a journalist, and I love it. And from like Jamel Shabazz and Joe Conzo, that was before me, you know what I'm saying? Like all New York stuff, right? Then when I started writing for The Source and Rap Pages and Vibe, that was when like B Plus was around and some others, you know what I'm saying? Keba Conte was a really big photographer from the Bay, did a lot of West Coast stuff. When you stepped into this world of journalism, did you intend for photojournalism? Did it intend to be for hip hop, or was it for something else? Like, tell me how you entered into the hip hop space. Was it deliberate? And then where did the pivot happen where it was like, okay, I'm taking hip hop photos to blam, I'm kind of becoming the guy?
Well, yeah, it wasn't deliberate. I didn't set out to, I didn't sit down and write a business plan like, this is what I'm going to do, within hip hop, I got to be involved. It was more like, I'm a fan, first and foremost, like growing up in Syracuse, my dad owned a record store for many years back in the day. And, I was just a big fan, of the culture, and I was a part of the culture, even in Syracuse, So when I moved to New York, part of the reason I moved is because of the music, watching music videos, watching movies, I just knew that I had to be in this city.
Where it was happening.
Right? Yeah. So I, in 2002 at SOBs, shout out to SOBs, man.
Shout out to SOBs. SOBs is a straight institution. Straight up.
So Common was performing, and I had 2 disposable cameras that I bought specifically to document the show, like just to take photos because I wanted to remember it. And then I took photos. I got them back from Rite Aid, put them in the shoebox, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And maybe a month later, I pulled them out after reading like Complex or Rolling Stone. I'm flipping through looking at photos, and I was like, oh shit, I think I got something.
Yeah, my work, huh?
Yeah, I think it just is good. So I sought out and bought a digital camera, and that was pretty much history. What I did was I necessarily didn't just only seek out to shoot music. It was nightlife, which really propelled my name because it gave me, I was able to use my personality to build, myself up as a brand instead of just being a guy front of stage.
Trying to ride.
Yeah, so I use nightlife to network. I use nightlife to, sometimes nightlife overlaps. There'll be camera on and perform 2 or 3 songs at Santos, so it was always overlapping stuff, and I would build myself up. So, started a blog. It was called villageslum.com, and it became, at that time in the blog era, one of the destinations to go see what was happening in New York, especially like on the Lower East Side, the downtown scene. But also I was capturing these concerts like Kanye and, Rock the Bells festival, the festivals of that day.
Rock the Bells was so legendary, bro. Good Lord. That was like a thing. Like if you miss Rock the Bells, there were certain parts of hip hop that are things, man. That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that's really interesting. And I hope that other aspiring journalists pay attention, like to how you did it, to, you know what I mean? To capturing the nightlife, or, finding a theme and using that, you know what I'm saying? That's powerful. Now, sometimes I've gone to interview people and the vibe is not popping. And it's weird because your job is to capture a vibe and it's not always really lit, and so over the years, I kind of had to kind of curate a process of how I engage people, especially rappers, because their egos are so big and they got so many people around them who, you know what I mean, who think they're hard or think that they are the rapper, whatever, right? And then, you got to kind of have to create a friendly space and open things so that you can get the information and the vibe or the shot that you want, right? Can you tell me, without giving away too many trade secrets, right? Because you are, the alpha right now. Like what? No, it's factology right there. It's factology. But what can you tell me about your process? Like, can you tell me anything or share anything about your technical process and anything you do mentally to prepare for your shoots, hip hop or not? I'm curious.
With hip hop, dude, like really my preparation is going in and making sure that I get the most exclusive photos possible of the day. Every situation is different. Each concert or photo shoot, you know what I'm saying? It's like all different depending on what the access you have, depending if you know the manager, depending on if you know the artist.
Right. Because sometimes artists like, hey, and then it's like super lit, or sometimes they're like, who are you? Oh, I'm a photographer. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Just like...
sometimes you don't get shit. You don't get the image that you imagine you're gonna get. You just try next time, and maybe that time you leave it at like, hey man, I'm so-and-so. I would like to take your photo, but understand this time is not it. But for next time, and you see them next time, like, yo, they remember you, so they open up more. It's like I just use every situation is different, and that's why I pride myself on being a chameleon, being able to fit in to different situations. Like me shooting, let's say a band, Ninja Sonic, who's a hip hop rock band, and they were buzzing in New York in 2010. Shooting them is way more, easier. They're hungry. They wanted coverage. They're
juiced.
I fit into their shit. Or, or me shooting Kid Cudi in 2008 is different from shooting Kid Cudi now.
Totally.
And that's not, not a knock on him. And it's just different. He's a different person. We're both different. We both evolved into who, who we are now. So it's just a different mental preparation. But shooting, let's say like photojournalism, news story, breaking news stories, the Capitol riot.
Right.
That stuff is 1,000 times different. Like the mental approach is totally different. Yeah. Like you're thinking about, is someone gonna stab you in the back? Are you gonna get
for
shot?
real? For real though,
not like the cop's gonna pepper spray your ass, or
not like the metaphorical stabbing, like the actual knife.
Yes, like the knife, or you think about the cops. Are you gonna get arrested? You know what I'm saying? You think it's people say hip hop, can be dangerous. It's nothing compared to, shooting, being in a war zone, so to speak. And that's what the Capitol Riots was. And I can only imagine, you take it a step further with actual war photographers.
Right. Like like absolutely.
When there's fucking missiles and bombs.
Vietnam and Iran.
I don't necessarily want to compare it to that. But for me,
it's close though.
Yeah, it's relatively close to the situation that happened on January 6th. But yeah. But hip hop can be dangerous too. There's a lot of guns, a lot of bullshit that happens, and it's not good. A lot of shit because there was the shooting at Irving Plaza a few years ago with Troy Ave that he was involved with. And, that was not a safe environment for anyone, for fans, for them, for people backstage. So it's like
mayhem.
Ever since that happened, shit changed.
So. without naming a rapper, can you tell me one of the more tough shoots that you had that you were able to turn into a good moment? You know what I mean? Like, I've had sometimes, you come across an artist, they're in a bad mood, or maybe they ain't ate, or they haven't, they haven't got their weed yet or whatever, and the vibe is not cool, and you kind of have to really dig into who they are, what the nature of the environment is to make it work. And then people are like, man, that was a great interview, and you're like, whoo, you have no idea what it took to do that. Do you have one of those memories? And again, I don't want you to name nobody.
No, let's see. I do. I mean, I'll name them. It doesn't. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
But it wasn't really a photo shoot. It's just I feel like Travis Scott is one of the hardest people in hip hop to photograph, and when he's not on stage,
really,
because there's such a difference between him on stage and when he's off stage. On stage, he's like this energy, and it's you capturing it. It's fucking brilliant.
It's electric.
But off stage, he's kind of like he's this.
He's kind of introverted.
He wants to cover space, or he's doing this, or he's on this, kind of covering himself up. And it's like at first it was kind of like, damn, all right, cool. But then you learn like that's just his vibe. So you try to make the best of it. And like every time that I photographed him, it's gotten better and better, where it's like, I mean, for me, it's like, all right, cool. I'm seeing just a little bit more of the space, and I know what to expect. So I'm just going to zoom in and try to get this. Get this, because this is, what's important. This is the vibe that he wants to give off.
That's it.
So
that's deep, man. Yeah. It is interesting too. I think that was one of the hardest things for me as a journalist, was figuring out that people may be on stage or on wax completely gigantic, but then like privately be really introverted. And they don't know how to talk beyond what they rap. Right. Like you looking for some deep thing, they don't have it. And it's not because that deep thing isn't within them. It's just the way that they express it is on that paper, it's on that beat, and they're not, what I'm saying?
Sometimes it's disappointing.
Yeah,
to be honest.
Can be.
I've been disappointed by a few of my favorite rappers, and then also pleasantly surprised because you hear those things about rappers when you meet somebody, you're like, you're nothing like you're nothing like that. Case in point, Black Thought, right? Before I met him, everyone was like, oh, he's this, he's that, da da da. Black Thought is the nicest motherfucker. Period.
Dude, like that's what I heard. Everybody I know says that Black Thought is hella cool.
Hella cool. That's my big bro. Text back. Like I still get a kick out of it, and I've been friends with him for over 10 years. That I could text Black Thought or call, and he'll text me back. Like I find it fucking like it's amazing to me. One of my all-time greatest rappers, favorite rappers. But I have other, rappers that I loved growing up, and I meet them, and I'm just like, damn, you are fucking kind of whack. Like I do not want to have a beer with you. I wouldn't want to kick it with you. I still love your music, but also in the back of my mind, I'm just kind of like,
totally. Now, we're about to get to the center of the shrubbery maze. Okay. Your IG again. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're just listening on Spotify or iTunes, I really need you to go at Mel D Cole with an E and really look at these images, because we're not just talking about casual shots. We're talking about amazing stuff. Whether it's, you know what I'm saying? Like it's really like defining a moment type stuff. All right. I need you to talk to me about how you started covering some of the BLM protests and things like that. And then specifically, I want to talk about the Capitol riots, and then we'll kind of dig into that. But like, I'm curious to like, because like you noted a few minutes ago, that's a hell of a pivot. Like, tell me about what brought that out of you, and just tell me. I want to hear.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, we'll start with this. Besides photographing, hip hop, I've always done other things as well. I've never just been a hip hop photographer. I've been a street photographer. I was doing a homeless project called The Homeless World, which you can check out on Instagram as well. It's called A Homeless World. I've done brand stuff. I've done travel. So it's all about, what interests me, and also sometimes with like brands and stuff like that, or lifestyle stuff. It's like, if you think it's cool, you can make money from it. I gotta eat. I gotta survive. Right. So the pivot, it was a big pivot as far as like the exposure of like death, so to speak, being in danger. But like technically what I was doing wasn't such a big shift. It's capturing the moments. It's having the eye. It's being in the right place at the right time. It's using what's inside of you to accomplish the goal. So when George Floyd died, this is when I said to myself that I'm going to dedicate my craft and my platform to the movement. And also before, like when COVID started, I started doing these Instagram lives where I would talk to other photographers and we would basically have a conversation. And I did one with Jonathan Mannion. I did one with Ricky Powell. I did one with Stuart McFarlane. Please forgive me, Stuart. I forget your last name.
Yeah.
He's the head photographer for Arsenal.
Yeah.
I did a couple other photographers, but one of the standouts ones that I did, I think I did 10, but I spoke with Devin Allen. Are you familiar with Devin Allen?
Help me out.
He's a photographer. He was shooting a lot of the protests down in Baltimore. And he was an amateur photographer at the time, where he got one of the most famous Time magazine covers of the last 20 years, arguably one of the most famous Time cover, period. It's of a black man running from the police. The police are in back of him, and it crosses out 1967. I guess it was like
I know what you're talking about. Yes, I just got goosebumps. I know what you're talking about.
So like I've always been drawn to conflict, and speaking with him, solid brother, amazing guy. He just got not just got, but he also after we talked, since the right side, he got another Times cover, Time magazine cover. Right. So anyway, talking with him, it just really lit a fire underneath me for something that I was already inspired to do. And it was like, shit, I want a Time magazine cover. I want this, I want that, and I want to dedicate myself to it. So when George Floyd died, that was it. The protest started, and it was on and popping since then.
Yeah. Man, I mean, it's really amazing images. Some of the stuff that really you see me here speechless. I'm trying to like images of nuns for Trump. Watching the video of the Jews for Trump, just hella juice, like hyped up, looked like they was at a sideshow in the Bay.
Yeah, man.
Black men for Trump, that brother with the, what I'm saying, the crazy hair with the hat, and the other dude was like, I'm here not for Trump, I'm here for America. Like
that brother just got arrested.
Wow, because he was up there at the Capitol.
Not just because he was up there. There are a lot of people up there, and a lot of those people won't get arrested. They're arresting the people for actually trying to break in and hitting people with shit. Right. Getting violent. He is arrested for assaulting police officers with a baseball bat. I forget his name. Emmanuel or something is his name.
Wow.
And I talked to him fresh off of him being pepper sprayed in the eye.
I saw, and he was,
for the second time. But they got his ass, and I heard, I'm not sure how true it is. I didn't do anything, but I read, Instagram.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. I took a grain of salt for, a lot of information I get from places unless I do research myself. But they're saying that he is not, his bail or something is really high. He's not getting organic food. He's not getting
what the horn guy got. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. They got his black ass locked the fuck up.
And you don't sit here until the trial pops off. You know what I'm saying?
Special. Right.
Right. So, crazy.
Very crazy.
You know, but between the Nuns for Trump, and you got to go to IG and look at that, people. Until you see Nuns for Trump, you have no idea how insane stuff can be. But
that Nuns for Trump is, when I saw them walk in, I got fixated on them. They went to the VIP section, so a section that I couldn't get into, and I was pressed. I had press.
Wow! So they was like, ugh.
So I sat there, and waited, and I waited for them to come out, and I captured those images, and I missed, the beginning of the
insurrection.
The insurrection. I missed Horn guy going in and all that stuff, but I got Nuns for Trump, and I was able to speak to the guy with the dread. So you can't be everywhere.
Yeah. No, I mean, but you got some golden stuff, man. You got some golden stuff, some amazing things. My question is, between those people, right? Other than like their love for Trump, did you see a commonality between them? Did you see a thread that really could unite them? Like it, when I look at the footage and stuff, the thing that trips me out is I know that they love Trump, and I respect that they love Trump for whatever reason they do. That's on them and whatever. Mm-hmm. But like when I see other people, I can see why they would kick it. I'm not sure that these people would kick it for any other reason than Donald Trump. I'm not sure that they. So like, were you able to gather a thread of commonality between these people? Like what?
I mean, it's just, all I can say is that the thread of commonality is just USA. Right. That's it.
So they're just like, their brand of patriotism is the commonality.
Yes, they are patriots in their mind. They are doing what people did in 17 whatever.
76 or whatever.
Yeah. They are the equivalent to the Boston Tea Party. They are fighting for democracy
in their mind.
In their minds. That's what they were doing. Like that was it.
And I think I already know the answer here, but could you give me any firsthand accounts of differences that you saw in the way police were treating the Capitol insurrectionists versus, I mean, you were at, the George Floyd nonviolent protests. And it's important that I use those words, nonviolent protests. Like people came for a lot of these things nonviolently to speak their mind. Now, stuff did get out of hand and there were some people that were setting it off. But I'm curious to know.
Yeah. I like to beg to differ when people say the George Floyd protests were nonviolent. I was there at a lot of them, and there are a lot of peaceful ones. But I couldn't sit here with a bold face and be like, none of the people from the Black Lives Matter side were not violent. Absolutely.
Because they did set the police department on fire. Somebody did.
Somebody did. I don't know who. Or whatever, but I'm talking about from what I saw and experienced. Yes, I saw violence from both sides: police, Black Lives Matter, Antifa, Trump, supporters. I saw violence from every side. So it's like, no, but were there a lot of peaceful protests? Absolutely. Was there stuff happening all the time? No, but there was. So with that being said, the answer. Everybody else knows the answer. If that crowd at the goddamn Capitol building was majority Black,
or Mexican, or Jewish,
it got me burping and shit, got me all excited. We would not have even gotten on the goddamn steps.
Or Muslim,
or Muslim, or anything. They would have been ready to go. They were not ready. I don't understand why they weren't ready. It was thousands of people that said they were going to go to the Capitol.
Right.
And like one question I get asked a lot too is like, did you know or did you expect some shit to happen? Like, no, I didn't expect people to go inside the goddamn building.
Wild
out. I thought they were gonna like scream and holler and get some pepper spray and get pushed back. I was gonna get some dramatic photos of that. If that being like the top thing. But never in a million years did I expect fucking people climbing all over that shit and waving Confederate flags and doing this and doing that. Absolutely not. that's not what I thought was going to happen.
When you're in those situations, because there's so much, all right, now I'm speaking from a place of ignorance here because I'm not there, obviously, right? But I can imagine if I was black and I was there, that I would feel a little unsafe. Like fools might try to whoop on me or bust my camera or beat me up or check me. You know what I'm saying? Embark me down about why I'm there. Did you ever have to deal with any of that? Or were they like, okay, this guy is clearly coming to take pictures and we're letting him be?
It was only one instance of someone just looking at me and be like really softly, non-aggressive, was like, "Where you get out of it? Like, go over there." It's like, okay. Besides that, there was nothing. I had my press pass on, not even on purpose, but it's just on the actual event. I never thought to take it off, and people sometimes like I'm shooting and someone would just grab it and look at it and just put it back down and say, I had really no problems, from people there worrying about, treating me like I was
Something
seeing
happened.
But there were other people there that got beat up,
the business,
got pushed. I didn't see any of the report. I saw videos and stuff, and I actually have a couple of people that I've known and got to know out and about that got pushed around. And this guy that I met, a documentary filmmaker, Nick Quested, he got his camera broken and beat up. You know Nick?
No, I don't know.
He made a ton of music videos, hip hop music videos.
What?
In the 90s and early 2000s. Yeah, now he's a documentary filmmaker, like one of those guys that you see wearing a bulletproof vest that goes over the war.
Yeah, goes out of the war zones.
Yeah.
Word.
Yeah.
No, that's beautiful. No, I mean, well, that makes me happy. You know what I mean? Because one of the things is when I talk about delicate situations, I don't want to create a false hype. You know what I mean? So the fact that you were there and you weren't getting, messed with and ran up on, that makes me happy. You know what I mean? Because I want gifted, brilliant people like you to be safe in situations like that, when they go to take pics. Now, because you've been on the ground for some of the most amazing, racially and socially, politically polarizing and challenging moments, what have these moments taught you about America, and what have they taught you about yourself?
Well, it teaches me about America that, what I've already known, it just solidifies it, that the country is very divided. I know that I live and have lived in a bubble. In order to learn about the country and learn about the people of this country, you need to step outside of your bubble. I've lived in many bubbles. Growing up, I grew up in the hood, and I didn't have any white friends. I didn't know any white people. Only white people I really knew were, my teachers, or and then you get out of that bubble. I went to college, so I knew more people, of different races, Indian, white, black, Asian, you name it, and there was always something in me that wanted to explore, getting to know different people. And what I'm doing right now and what I've learned is that it's more of the same stuff. Like, you get out of college and you get your friends and you kind of stay in that bubble, and what you need to do is get outside of it. And that's what, doing what I've been doing has taught me, that there's no better way than learning and educating, than putting boots on the ground and getting in there and documenting people and talking with people and getting to know them. And hopefully you can learn, you might not agree with what the hell they got to say, but at the end of the day, saying you got their opinion and you're not screaming and yelling and hooting and hollering back and forth to each other. So
nah, that's huge. Yeah. That's huge. That's huge. Now, I think I saw in one of your more recent posts that some of your IG images have been taken down by IG. Can you tell me and tell the listeners and the viewers, what were those images, and what does the fact that they removed these images that you took of a real moment in America, what does this tell you about, like, America, freedom of speech as a journalist? This stuff terrifies me, right? I'm telling you, I don't like to see stuff like that. So tell me what images you took that were taken down or flagged, and what do you feel about this kind of censorship?
It tells us that, I mean, first of all, that it tells us that we don't own shit. You know, when I mean me, I just don't mean black, white, or whatever. I mean
just whoever's posting.
the user, the member. You're at. It doesn't mean shit because this is a private company and you're using their platform, and they could pretty much do whatever the hell they want to do. With that being said, you know, I had two or three videos taken out. One that the crowd on the 6th, they were screaming, "I can't breathe, I can't breathe," and obviously mocking.
Yeah, come on,
I
man.
can't breathe chant that has been a rally cry for a lot of us
against police brutality and injustice in courts. You know what I'm saying?
And they were mocking it. I had 2 or 3 photos removed, 2 posts. One in particular of that started off as a series with the black man with the hair and the MAGA hat on, and they were just portraits, which I found very astonishing. I was like, what the fuck? Like,
why would you take that down?
There's no,
and he didn't even say anything. He didn't even say or do anything out of pocket in his videos.
It wasn't even that the video stayed up, right?
It was the image.
The image they took down, which was so bizarre to me. And I just really didn't understand it. And I posted it again and they took it down. So I posted that same post, same photos twice, and they took it down. So what it tells me is censorship is that, you know, they were on high alert for some reason. Like what that specific thing really, they punched into the algorithm, and, you know,
that is
whatever.
Really strange.
Compared to, like, you know, Black Lives Matter movement, they didn't do that for it. So it was weird. It was very interesting. There was another video off the top of my head. I can't remember. It is and also another photo post. But Instagram apologized and said that they were sorry for taking it down. Not just to me, but they publicly and apologized. I believe through the Washingtonian newspaper or magazine. I did an interview for them, and they took it. The next few days you start seeing your stuff, you know, come back, and a lot of other photographers, their stuff was coming back. And what we all were just complaining about, it's like, I don't know if you've been on Instagram, you're clicking through and you'll see a graphic warning thing that they'll slap up at first if someone fell off a roof and, you know,
or got like cut or something.
It doesn't even have to be for like something super violent. It's just like, oh, graphic.
Right.
They could have easily put that up for all of our stuff and we could have been fine. But luckily for me, like, it really didn't, you know, mess me up too much. And me, you know, bringing, you know, the censorship situation to light has done a lot of good for me. Has done a lot of good for other photographers that have been in my position, and hopefully for, you know, censorship in general for journalists and photojournalists as a whole.
Man, it's really deep, man. I love hearing how clear you are about what you're doing, what you're experiencing. It's this is great.
Yeah, man. Clarity is key. Like,
how do you find it? What do you do to cultivate it?
Shit, nothing. To be honest, it's
just where you are.
Yeah, it's where I just come with, you know, old age, you know, 44, and this experience. You know, I haven't always been this way. You know, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life, and I'm at the point now, it's like I know exactly what I'm doing, and if I don't know what I'm doing, you know, I'm just really not going to talk about it. I'm not going to show that piece of me until I find out.
Till you get that gem.
So I can be clear on it.
Word. Now, my last question, and thank you again for being on Bishop Chronicles. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate you, you know, sharing your time and your wisdom. This is a hard question. If a natural disaster came and destroyed all but one of your photos that could be preserved, what is one picture that, like, okay, they could know me by this?
Well, shit. we're just gonna go with this one right here. Fuck it.
Yeah.
Harriet Tubman on the Robert E. Lee Monument in Richmond, Virginia. This was taken in June. And at the top, which you probably can't see on the camera, or in the middle. Well, the top, we'll start with the top. I'll get to show you. This says, this is Black Lives Matter, BLM.
Right.
And then here we have slavery is the next thing to hell. And it's a quote attributed to Harriet Tubman. It's Harriet Tubman. And if you're not familiar with what happened to this monument, basically, it took we Black folks and supporters and allies took over the monument and the statue, and this park has been renamed to a name that I can't remember off the top of my head. But this is taken and it's become, a tribute, a place to gather, a place of, promise and hope.
Is that what they call it? Is that Stone, whatever, Georgia? Where is that?
No, this is in Richmond, Virginia.
Richmond, Virginia. Okay.
Yeah. So it's Richmond, Virginia. It's called Monument Avenue. And on this avenue, there are a bunch of Confederate statues.
Yeah.
And most of them, if not all, have been removed, except for this one. This one is in a legal battle because I think it's owned by the state or something.
So there's some kind of like jurisdiction.
Yeah, but they just can't go take it down. And the only Black statue on this avenue is one of Arthur Ashe.
Wow.
Yep.
As beautiful as it is sad, right? Yeah. Like, it's like, all right, Arthur, wait, that's it? You know what I'm saying? Then you got all these No, man. That is great. Okay, so before we go, anything that you're working on, is there anything you're dropping? Is there any new companies that you cultivate and that people need to know about, etc.?
Well, first off, I like to say a few things. And during the summer, and I always want to thank everyone for supporting it. I started a GoFundMe for Black photographers, which I have since ended. But I raised over $20,000, and I gave money out to Black photographers that were on the front lines, documenting the movement. Gave them money to support them. People kept asking me, "How can we support me?" And I said, I'm okay, but let's support everybody else. And,
God bless you for that, man. Because hip hop needs more of that. Journalists, writers, all of y'all pay attention. Right. When you get to the top spot, when you are the top shotter, man, help other people, bro. I don't understand all the. You gotta help. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is beautiful. Like, for real. Like, I'm impressed.
So for one, like, I mean, shit. Like, as you know, in hip hop, it's super competitive, and I didn't like necessarily want a lot of photographer friends, but COVID and through me becoming a part and documenting the movement, it fostered me to want to just be more supportive of my colleagues, so to speak. So I started the fund, and also remember I did the Instagram live stuff, so that translated into this. And company wise, what I started last year, 2019. I started the first Black soccer specific photo agency called Charcoal Pitch FC.
Do you know how much I love soccer? I got a slow trembling tear. You can't see it. It is just right there. Because when I was a kid, I played soccer, and when I was an adult, I coached soccer. So like I am in love with this idea. When I was on the site, I was like,
dope. Thank you, man. But I started that in 2019. I've done work with Roma, and I've right now I have a partnership with the Premier League. If you don't know the Premier League, it's basically like the NFL for soccer in the UK and in the world. Biggest league in the world. I have a partnership with them where I go out and find some of the biggest, brightest Black Premier League fans and tell their stories through the initiative. It's called,
that is fantastic.
Premier League Fans of America. That's the hashtag. And we publish the photos on the American Premier League Instagram. We have some good stuff coming up for Black History Month as well through the Premier League. So those are some of the things that I've been working on. Also, quite possibly some of this work will be in something tangible, possibly
okay.
in the fall of this year.
Okay, man. Well, yo, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time, man. Shout out to Steve Bramucci, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you know,
shout out to him.
for plugging this, because you know, that's my homie, and I know he knew me well enough and you well enough to know this was gonna be popping the most. And so I appreciate you for sharing your time, you know.
Thank you. And also, you can go buy my book on Amazon.com. It's called Great Photographs of Hip Hop, 2002 to 2019. Support your boy. Amazon.com.
Cop that. You know what I'm saying? So, man, on that note, salute, man. At Mel D. Cole, thank you. This is Bishop Chronicles. You know what I'm saying? This is West Coast, West Side. You know what I'm saying? Worldwide. You know what I'm saying? And
word up.
Stay blessed and safe, man. Thank you so much.
Peace.
Teacher, what style is that? It's my own secret technique.
Bishop Chronicles. Bishop Chronicles.
What's it called?
Checkmate, sucker, now the move game's over.
What's it called?
Adisa the Bishop. That's right.